Hey guys, it is Sweet, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking you through my initial thoughts of 9.1, the initial quest line, how you get renown, as well as some of the class changes and my predictions for the season. So the first thing I want to talk about is obviously the first thing when you log on, you need to do the brand new quests in the Maw. Honestly, this was one of the most frustrating releases to a patch I've ever had in my life. Everything was laggy, everything was buggy, nothing made sense, and the entire thing as a whole, doing the two quests that you need to increase your renown, took probably 6 or 7 hours total. Probably a little bit less than that, actually. But it was really annoying, and it just feels disgusting that you have to PvE if you want to PvP. Like, to keep up with your renown, you need to be doing these quests every single week. To give you a little bit of perspective, if you haven't done the quest yet, the quest requires you to fill up a bar to 100% in the Maw. Every time you kill an elite, you get like 3%. Every time you kill a boss, you get like 5%. And then whenever you loot a treasure chest, it's like 2 or 3%. So it takes a fair amount of time, especially if you're someone like me who has never done the Maw stuff before and you don't have any dailies that you can do. So I really wasn't happy with that. I did not like it at all, and that alone will probably make me fall off eventually with the game. Having to do the Maw is the most disgusting thing. Although you can mount up now in the Maw, which happens very early in the quest line, so not the worst thing in the world. Talking about some of the class changes that are notable to me, Death Knight's new talents are really cool. They lost their Heartstop aura, which was a big part of the playstyle, and was one of the big reasons that you would bring a Death Knight. But their new talents are really cool. They are trying to fix Unholy a little bit, which feels nice. I think DK feels like, overall, a really nice class to play right now. I versed one just before, and he was slapping. So DK feels super strong. If you're a DK player, you're going to be having a good season. Mages are being nerfed. So Fire was nerfed, Frost was buffed slightly. I still think Fire is going to be a little bit better than Frost, even though I have been playing a whole lot of Frost. I'm loving it. This is potentially a meta changing nerf. Mages were pretty much played in every single game in the AWC. They're still strong, don't get me wrong, but they do not have the same draw that they did before. The Infernal Cascade nerf reduces the mage damage by quite a lot. I believe it's about 10%. So we'll see how this plays out. Mage has 3 new talents, so the Iconosphere for Arcane, Ring of Fire for Fire, and the Ice Wall for Frost. They don't really feel like they fit in anywhere except for RBGs. I can see Ring of Fire being used in 3s or 2s, and I can see Iconosphere being used by the very small amount of mages playing Arcane. But Ice Wall just not really going to fit into Arena. If it was an instant cast, it would be awesome, but it is a cast time, so not that good. Shadow Priest. So if you guys are watching me, you probably know me from my Shadow Priest content. Shadow Priests have had a VT and a Shadow Word Pain damage increase and a Devouring Plague decrease. So the idea of spread pressure is coming back more for Shadow Priest, and the quick burst that we had is being reduced. We had the Void Bolt conduit nerfed, so that is quite a big hit for Shadow Priests. Again, will still be very strong even with the Greater Fade nerf, but I still think Shadow Priest is going to be very strong. I think everything's kind of coming more into line. At the start of it, we had sub-rogues and mages up here, and everything was down here, and now everything's starting to equal out, so that's good. Demon Hunters have had a sustained damage increase. It's good. I haven't really had enough time to test it out and see what it's actually like in person, but it's looking pretty promising for Demon Hunters. I can see this being a very positive change for them. Druid survivability as a whole was nerfed, so Frenzy Regen, I think for all specs, was reduced. Frenzy Regen is just one of those buttons that had very low skill requirement for very high reward. So Druids could really just sit in burn, Frenzy Regen, and they'd be okay. So the fact that they can't do that as well is probably really good for the game. they've still got their great damage, which is a really good positive for them, but they just lose a little bit of that survivability. So I am a big fan of that, because I have in the past liked targeting druids. It always feels like a good target to me, but recently it just felt like it was a bit of a waste because of frenzied regen. Now, Mistweavers have been a dead spec forever, basically, since BFA, some point in BFA. And it feels really good with the new patch. The survivability additions, the one where when they get stunned, they take reduced damage. It's really good. I feel like it's exactly what Mistweavers needed to basically come back into the meta. They had some buffs to their mana a couple months back, which didn't really help. Because they were still dying, but this is a really good change. I think Mistweaver is going to be one of the strongest healers. And I'm predicting this to be a very melee dominant season. I feel like casters are going to fall off and the melee comps are really going to pull ahead. Now, Mistweaver synergizes really well with melee comps because they have the ability to teleport, kite, and basically live on their own while their team zugs the other healer down. So I do think Mistweaver is going to be very important to the meta. And I'm actually excited. It's really nice to see some classes that were underrepresented probably come into representation. So, should you play 9.1? At this point, I would say probably not. I do not think this is going to be fun. I don't think there's going to be much appeal, but we are on the first day. So as we get along, if you're someone who loves PvE, there's a whole lot of new PvE stuff. There's a whole lot of lore stuff you can do. So if you enjoy that stuff, you're really going to like it. In terms of PvP, if you have a lot of time to play the game and you have the time to do your dailies and you have time to go into the maw and do this and do that, you'll probably still enjoy it. However, if you're a little bit time poor like me, these things are just going to tilt you up the wall and you are not going to love it. So guys, those are my initial thoughts on 9.1 and my predictions for the meta. I can see TSG with a Mistweaver being super strong. Anything with a ret is still going to be super strong. And don't get me wrong, casters will still be strong, just probably not at the start of the season. I can see them getting stronger as we scale up, as we get more versatility, as we get more haste. I can see them becoming very good. So that's it for me today, guys. If you like this video, please drop a sub or a comment. And if you think I'm an idiot, tell me that too. Cheers.